Hello, lovely people of God. God bless you so much for always liking our videos. God bless you so much for sharing. God bless you for your support. And if you know you haven't subscribed, I will encourage that you subscribe to this channel. Today, I want to talk about the power of small beginnings. The power of small beginnings. I believe that many of us have heard of small beginnings before, but we've not come to the understanding of the value to start small. The value to start small. And I've realized that many believers, one way or the other, want to get to the top, whether with their business, whether with their like any aspect of their lives. They just want to hit the roof. They don't want to start small. They don't want to start from a small point before they get to the level which God wants them to. But I want you to understand that God is a God who loves small beginnings. God is a God who desires and delights in humble beginnings, and everything that God gives to his children come in the form of a seed. Whatever God will give to man, whatever God will give to us, will always come in the form of a seed, and it is up to us to grow that seed. It is up to us to nurture and grow that seed. So that is how God works. God will always give us an idea, then we have to enlarge it. God will always give us the seed, and it is up to us to enlarge that seed, to cause that seed to grow into a tree and bear fruit. That is how God works. I want to read something from Zechariah chapter 4 verse 10. It says, everyone should know that the day of small things is important. That is from the easy English. It goes on, but I just want just the first part. Everyone should know that the day of small things is important. So we need to understand that small beginnings are very important. Humble beginnings are very important. Be it in ministry, be it with your business, be it with your education. You will start from a point of beginning. You will start gradually before you hit the roof. And that is how God has made it. There is no escape. There is no shortcut. God has made it as a process. So in life is full of stages, okay? And life is full of processes that we need to pass through. And that is the main reason why we shouldn't belittle our small beginnings. That is the main reason why we shouldn't belittle when we start gradually. It is very, very important that we start gradually. And I'm going to take us through 5 important keys or 5 benefits of humble beginnings, or 5 benefits or 5 importance of starting small. Now, the first importance of small beginnings is that small beginnings prepare us for the future. Small beginnings prepare us for what the Lord is about doing in our life. Small beginnings is actually a stage where we undergo training. Small beginnings is actually a stage where we learn. So that is why we do not have to skip that part of small beginnings, because it is through the small beginnings where we are able to learn. That is when we learn. That is when we are trained. You see, that is how David was able to become king. David was able to become king because he went through a training. He started from being a shepherd. David started from going to the bush, taking care of the sheep, fighting bears and lions before he even went to fight Goliath. It was a form of training that David had to go through. Small beginnings is actually a place where we are being prepared. So one of the importance of small beginnings is actually a stage where we are being prepared, even for the bigger thing ahead of us, for the glory ahead of us. If you do not undergo training, it will be very difficult for you to overcome the pressures ahead of you. So one of the things I want us to understand is that we need to start small. We need to go through our small beginnings. We need to go through our humble beginnings, because it is a stage where we are being trained by God. It is a stage where we learn. It is a stage where the Lord teaches us things about the future. It is where God teaches us things that is about coming in order to overcome the pressures. So we need to go through training. We cannot take away small beginnings, because small beginnings is actually a stage where we are being trained. Again, the second thing I will talk about small beginnings is that small beginnings help our foundation to be strong. Small beginnings help us to have a solid faith in God, because in the small beginnings, things are not going to be easy. In your small beginnings, things are going to be rough. Whether with your business, whether with your ministry, things are going to be rough. Things that you expect are not what will happen. So the small beginnings is actually a stage where the Lord builds our foundation, where our foundation in the Lord is being strengthened, where our foundation in the Lord now gets to another level. So you realize that in your small beginnings, your faith in the Lord grows. In your small beginnings, your faith in the Lord is heightened. In your small beginnings, your faith in the Lord becomes stronger, because God wants to build your foundation so that when you are able to get or reach the target God wants for you, because your foundation is strong, you will not collapse. Because your foundation is strong, you will not fall. And that is one of the things I've realized, that people who try to run away from their small beginnings, when they get to the top, they easily fall, because their foundation in the Lord is weak, because their foundation in the Lord is not strong. So I want to encourage all of us not to skip our small beginnings, not to skip our humble beginnings, because it is in our humble beginnings that our foundation in the Lord becomes strong. It is in our humble beginnings that our faith in the Lord becomes so strong that when the pressures of life come against us, we are able to stand the test of time. And I've realized from the Old Testament, people who embrace their small beginnings, like Joseph, when he went through challenges, because his foundation was strong in the Lord, he was able to overcome it. If your foundation in the Lord is not strong, when the time of glory comes, you might fall. Why? Because your foundation in the Lord is not strong. You will fall at the day of adversity. So your small beginnings will equip you. Your small beginnings will be a solid foundation for you to be prepared for what is about coming in your life. So we shouldn't skip our small beginnings. The third thing I will talk about small beginnings is that small beginnings actually help our character to be developed. You see, one of the things I've realized is that it is in our small beginnings that is when we are able to develop certain characters and attributes in our lives, like endurance. It is in your small beginnings that you learn to endure. It is in your small beginnings that you learn certain virtues of God. It is in your small beginnings that you learn certain principles of God. It is in your small beginnings. In your small beginnings, you are able to develop certain attributes that you will need in future. It is in your small beginnings. So the moment you skip your small beginnings or your humble beginnings, in future, that thing might haunt you. Why? Because you couldn't develop it. The reason why a lot of people, when they get to the top, they fall is because they couldn't develop those characters. They couldn't develop those characters like endurance, like patience, like kindness, like long suffering. They couldn't develop them. But in your small beginnings, you are able to develop them. In your humble beginnings, you are able to develop some of these characters, some of these principles, some of these godly virtues, so that when you get to the top, it will sustain you. Listen, it's very easy to get to the top, but to stay or maintain that level is not easy. And what will help you to maintain that level is the virtues you learn in your humble beginnings. It's the virtue you learn in your humble beginnings, like endurance, like long suffering, kindness. It is in your humble beginnings that you learn all these things, compassion. And that is what I learned about David. He was able to learn some of these virtues in his humble beginnings. Like Joseph, he was able to learn all of these things in his humble beginnings. Let us not skip humble beginnings, because when we do that, we will miss certain virtues or characters that should have developed in our lives. The fourth point I will talk about when it comes to the importance of humble beginnings is that humble beginnings actually help us to plan and strategize. Humble beginnings, they help us to plan and strategize, and they help us to learn from our mistakes. You see, in your humble beginnings, you begin to know and plan ahead. In our humble beginnings, we are able to plan. We make mistakes, all right, but we are able to plan and strategize for the future. In our humble beginnings, there are so many things that comes to mind. There are so many ideas the Lord gives to us. There are so many plans that come to our mind. There are so many things that the Lord tells us. Then you begin to plan ahead. You begin to prepare yourself ahead. So in your humble beginnings, you realize that you easily begin to plan. You easily begin to think. You begin to have so many ideas in your head that you want to implement, all because in your humble beginnings you become so accessible to God that you want to even plan ahead. And lastly, the fifth point about the importance of humble beginnings is that humble beginnings actually help our capacity to be enlarged. Humble beginnings actually help us to accommodate a lot. Humble beginnings actually open us up. That is one of the things I've realized about humble beginnings. And humble beginnings draws us so close to God. Let us not forget. Humble beginnings draws us so close to God. It opens us up to access God. Humble beginnings actually help us to get closer to God. So in as much as our capacity is open to receive from God, we are able to get access to God, access to what God wants us to do. So the fifth thing is that in our humble beginnings, we become so accessible to God. In our humble beginnings, we draw so much closer to God. We draw so much closer to God that we are able to dine with Him and have fellowship with Him. That is one of the things I've realized about humble beginnings. Because in your humble beginnings, the Lord becomes so, as you become so glued to the Lord. In your humble beginnings, you really love God. You draw so much closer to God because God is only your source in your humble beginnings. In your humble beginnings, God becomes your all in all. In your humble beginnings, you realize that all you need is God. All you need is God. So I want to encourage us that in our humble beginnings, we should understand that the focus is God. In our humble beginnings, the focus is God. The focus is God. So I want to encourage all of us. Let us not be in a rush to get to the top. There is a process that God takes us through. When you see the butterfly with its beautiful wings and everything, you realize that they had to go through a process. Listen, even the butterfly, before they became a butterfly, they had to go through a process. And that is how God works. God works with processes, and we need to understand it. God will move from A, then go to B. Let's understand this. And that is the reason why anything God gives to us comes in the form of seed. Then we need to now grow it and nurture it. Listen, maybe you started a small business and it's very difficult to grow it. Listen, it's a small beginning stage for you. Don't give up. Your academics, you are struggling. Don't give up. Definitely you will get to the top. Maybe things are a little bit hard for you. You are in your early stages. You are in your humble beginning stages. Don't quit. Whatever you are doing, please don't quit. It is a stage you are in life, and you will definitely get to your glory stage. Please do not quit. The challenges might be there. Do not quit. Understand that it is a stage you are in life, and you will definitely overcome it. Do not quit. Embrace it and understand the importance of humble beginnings. If you do, trust me, you will overcome it. God bless you. I believe you were blessed. Like this video, share it, and if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. God bless you, and I love you.